Hi everybody, it's Amy from Amy J's Creations. Here I am again, coming to you live from just south of Zurich. Little bit later, I know. Supposed to have filmed about a week and a half ago, but my brother's in town, and so of course I had to do some cleaning and some organizing, and then since he's been here, I've cross-stitched one night a little bit. But most of the time, we're just gone all day, seeing stuff, talking till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So not a lot of cross-stitching has been done, and certainly not filming. But this morning, he went up to Copenhagen to take a little trip inside his trip to visit a friend who's staying up there. So I thought, okay, this is perfect. I have time to film before he comes back on Saturday. So that's what we're doing. Let's just jump right in, shall we? All right, we shall. I have 3 finishes. Yay! First one is all these adorable little ornaments from Erica's Handmade. These are all the sewing, kind of cross-stitching, mostly sewing related I'm showing them to you upside down. Here we go. Little ornaments. Now, originally, the pattern, the set comes with 12, okay? But I only have 10 of the little hanging mini tart pans to finish them in. And so I just chose 10 of my very favorites and did those. I did change some of the little plates were different colors, but I just changed them myself to whatever color because it doesn't really affect the design. One change I did make is, so this is my XG fabric that I got from Stitch Basel. I bought it. I think I bought it there. Maybe she gifted it to me. No, I don't know. But anyway, it's XG Designs. And it was just, it's this beautiful pale green opalescent, and I really wanted to use it. But the white, it was not quite dark enough for the white to pop, right? So when I got all finished with them, I decided to use the same light gray that was called for in the pattern and kind of do a little back stitch on everywhere where there was white. And I'm really happy with it. It really made those little white objects pop out without being glaringly black. And I can't wait to get these finished. Completely finished and on my tree. My little Christmas tree in my crafting area. Oh, it's going to be so cute. Finish number 1. Finish number 2. This is an original design, an original compilation of designs done by somebody else for my summer wall hanging that I have. All these designs came out of a cross-stitcher magazine from the UK that I bought once when we were on vacation there. And they usually have, like in the middle, they'll have a whole bunch of little small motifs all having to do with the same subject matter. And the one I bought happened to have travel, which was perfect. So I chose the sunglasses, little carry-on, passport. I did change the passport to look more like my Swiss passport. I did they had a plane, and I kind of changed it a little bit to make it smaller to fit in the place and to also be a Swiss plane. Added a little free-handed a little sun, but very happy with that. And it'll go with my 2 other summer blocks that will end up hanging on a hanging frame in a row, and they'll go all together. I specifically looked for things that had like red, white, and blue for Canada and America and Switzerland, and also some yellow for Happy Sunshine, but that was not so over-the-top patriotic America, because I don't celebrate just America. And in fact, 4th of July is the one holiday I celebrate the least out of the 3. Like, the crazier and crazier it gets, the less and less excited I'm about 4th of July. But like, you still got to celebrate it, right? So anyway, so I wanted designs that had the right color scheme, but not so blatantly patriotic, one country patriotic over another. So this was perfect. So I got that done. And then in that same magazine, they often include like little free projects. And this one was a very cute little rainbow. Now, what I did do is they had included all the floss. But the red that they included was basically orange. And one of the purples looked like one of the blues looked the exact same color as the other blue, and one of the purples was not purple at all. So I used some of the colors that they gave me, and I used some of my own colors to make it more a blatant rainbow. But the fabric, the Aida was included with it. I'm not totally sure what I'm going to do with this. It was supposed to have like little fringes at the bottom. Nah, didn't want to mess with that. I think I might make a tote bag out of it. So I have my son and I team teach a little class of 8 to 11-year-olds at our church on Sundays. And I have we have special dry erase markers that we only use for that class that I bring back and forth every Sunday. Sometimes I'm bringing them little treats if somebody has a birthday. Sometimes like stuff we need for the lesson, like pictures or, something that helps them understand the lesson better. And I think I might use this to make a little tote bag specifically to carry all my church things back and forth, so I can just kind of leave them in there or add things as I need them. So I think that's what I might do with that. But yeah, those are my 3 finishes. Go me. Woo! However, I am now starting to get a whole bunch of stitched projects that are finished, being stitched, but are not fully finished. And I'm kind of feeling the strong pull to get more of them done. So I may, for the rest of this month, my brother's going to be here for a few days. I think after that, rather than stitching a whole bunch on all these other projects, which we're getting to there, I think I want to concentrate on fully finishing several things. So yeah, I know plans, it's out of order, but I want some fully finished objects. All right, so all these whips that I'm talking about, how are they looking? Well, I will admit right now that I'm looking over at where all my project bags are stored, and I have 4 project bags that I did not touch at all this last month and a week or so. I have too many whips. I'm super happy with all the starts. Love that. But even with the couple finishes that I have, the thing is, it's not that it's too many whips, right? It's like 16 whips in total. That's not too many whips. But what I mean by that is it's too many whips to touch every single whip for as long as I want to in a month's time. Because most of these, I feel like 2 days is not enough. A lot of them I want to give 3. The numbers, the math ain't mathin'. If I want to do that. So, yeah. But it's fine. I'm happy with all the progress I did make. Okay. First one is I Solemnly Swear by, what is this? Piccolo Parigi Designs. Okay? Clearly a Harry Potter design. And this is what it's looking like now. And you may be saying to yourself, gosh, Amy, that looks exactly the same as when you showed it last time. It does not. You go back and watch my video and you will see. You don't really have to go back and see. No one's doing that. There's too many Flosstubes for that kind of nonsense to watch. But anyway, I have filled in a lot of this white. All the white that is filled in, I did since last month. I did a lot more of the outside of the banner. I did one of the stars, and I started on this letter of the letter S in Solemnly. So yeah, quite a bit done there. I also discovered I had totally sewed this Y in the wrong spot, and as I was filling in, I was like, why is this not matching? And then I realized I put the Y too far up, so out it came, and we restitched it. But that was an easy fix. So yeah, that's my Harry Potter badge. Banner, I guess, that I'm working on. Next project is my pair of pilgrims from Lizzie Kate. Now the man pilgrim's all done. I'm working on the girl pilgrim, Priscilla. All right. And since you last saw her, I did her hair, I did her beautiful cheeks, started on the collar and her blouse. I am using my own, I just picked some of my fancy flosses that looks like the colors that were called for are on the picture, but not all of them are the exact called for. And you will notice that I do not use fancy floss 1X at a time. That is simply too much floss. It's too expensive. It's too much of a hassle for me to get it, for me to be just wasting it like that. So I pull out the 2 strands. I don't use the loop method, but I do just do one leg of the stitch as far as I can and then go back the other way. And you know what? As you can see on his jacket, you still get the variation, the variegation. But you save so much floss. Incredible amounts of floss. Oh, wait, no, that's not the one I'm doing. My Biscornu from Stitch Bustle. This was one of the retreat patterns that was designed exclusively for the retreat by Snowflower Diaries. Maya, what a beautiful woman. She's got a Flosstube now with Timmy from they designed stuff together. Hold on. From Vintage Tulip Designs. It's in Hungarian, okay, which makes sense because they live in Hungary. But I have watched their Flosstubes. There's a button on Flosstube that will give you English captions, and they are so cute. They're lovely ladies, inside and out. They're the best of friends. They're giggling and laughing together. They film it inside their beautiful decorated homes. Go watch them. They've only had two Flosstubes out, 2 videos out. Go watch them. Anyway, so she designed this. Maya designed this. Snowflower Diaries, and then the floss and the fabric were dyed specially for us by XU Designs, by Udit. And so I have worked more on this. Now, the trick for me was this pattern is like kind of on the diagonal. That's not a problem with the pattern. It's a problem with how my brain sees the pattern and understands the pattern. So when I had just a little start, and when I came back to work more on this, I was like, I don't know where I was. I don't know where I am. That took me a minute, but then I figured it out, and it was no problem. Oh, that's going to be so pretty when it's done. So pretty. Okay, this technically is a new start, but like I've had all this, like I knew I was going to start one very soon, and it's kind of like it's a, start a prairie schooler, finish a prairie schooler Santa, start a prairie schooler Santa, right? Like you kind of, if you like them, it's kind of one of those things that you always have ongoing. And so I am working on this one. And one of the things I like about these is that look how much I got done in just a couple of days. They look they don't look complicated, but they don't look simple, right? They're pleasing to the eye. They are very interesting, and yet, so easy to sew, to stitch up. And I'm using this on 40 count linen because I wanted them to be just a little bit smaller. The 18 count called for is just a little bigger than I like my ornaments. And so I did it on 40 count. Now if I was really brave, I would do 1/1 on 40 count. But I'm not really brave. I'm not really brave. Next one is the Christmas market from Twin Peak Primitives. There you go. And I am, of course, changing all the colors because I want them to be all Christmassy colors, and I want the stands to be look like the same, because that's how the Christmas markets are all the ones that I have been to, the stands, not only do they all look like they're the same shape, for the most part, they're all decorated the same. They're all the same color. So I chose the darker green and the lighter green to make my houses. And I did quite a bit on these houses. They're getting more and more finished. And then, as you can see, I was getting housed out. So I started on the giant Christmas tree that is in the middle of the Christmas market. And everywhere that you see that gold shimmery in that tree, it's supposed to be just a plain yellow. But I wanted gold, so I substituted that metallic-y DMC that a lot of people don't like to work with. But like, it is a pain, but it's so pretty, and the coverage is so good that I put up with it. This is another Zweigart linen. This one we got free in our Stitch Basel packet. Yeah, of all the goodies that we got. Okay. Oh, yes. Magical Signpost by Cross Stitch For You. This is what it will look like when it's completely done. And I had to have a talking with myself. And I said, self, I know that you really want to get to all the fun stuff on this pattern. But if you say filling in those signposts till the very end, all 6 of them, those signposts are not getting filled in, and you will never finish this project. And so I gave myself the fun of finishing the little dragon, and then I did the super boring, super monotonous, seemingly never ending filling in of the signposts. And while I was doing that, I discovered that I made several mistakes. Remember how I talked about how the fabric shrunk? It only shrunk to like a 38 count. But it's dark. Somehow the dark gray and these old messed up eyes. There were several times when I was like, instead of stitching over 2 threads, I have stitched over 3. That has messed up these row of stitches. Yeah, I could flub it when it was the outside of the design, and it didn't really matter so much the inside with the words, but trying to make the words and the outside and the inside all match up, there it mattered. So there was a bit of unpicking that went on and restitching, but now we're all good. We're all happy. And Amy knows to stitch on this with her regular bifocals and her readers over the top and in very bright light. So she does not make those mistakes again. This is going to be so nice when it's done. I'm just, there is not a single project I have where I'm like, why did I start working on this? This thing is stupid. I hate this. I'm very happy with that. All right. The next one I do not have a photo of. I showed it in my last video. And I'll maybe show it in the next one. But this is my leap year start that I'm actually doing on the 25th rather than on leap year, because February 25th is my brother David, who died as a baby, his birthday. And so I'm doing it for kind of in memory of him a little bit. And I got, in one day, I got so much done. It was a really good day. Like where I had nothing going on, nobody, and I could just sit and stitch for quite a few hours. Of course, like had to cook in between and do some things, but I got a lot of stitching time that day. So first I filled in the rest of what was not done on the peacock. There's a little brown. And I got a little bit of the first leaf done because there's going to be like a big pot with a bunch of flowers and leaves coming out. So I got that started so that the next time I came, the next day I can work on more on that. And I got a lot of this little first border design here done. Now, the original pattern calls for this brown to be this whole border pattern, all the alphabet, all the numbers, and then another border pattern in brown. Now that brown makes sense for, you know, the house, some tree trunks, but like this big chunk that I'm going to be looking at of this beautiful border and these beautiful alphabets, I was like, I don't want all that brown. I just don't. But I want a purple color because purple is the greatest color ever invented. But, along with its sister turquoise. But, I wanted it to be a dark purple, right? Because it needed, I like the overall look of the darkness here. I just didn't want it to be dark brown. So I looked through all my floss that I had, and I discovered the absolute perfect purple. It looks, in this picture, I don't know if you can tell on your screen, but it is a gorgeous purple. It's a variegated, hand-dyed floss from my friend Francisca at Color Fever. She's got an Etsy shop. It's exactly what I had in mind. I love it. It's dark. It fits the mood of the whole pattern, but it is not brown. And it's great to work with. So I'm really happy with that progress for one day. Go me. All right. Then we had Celtic Christmas from Lavender and Lace. I'm trying to reach in here to my bag to pull it out. Here we go. Picture, Celtic Christmas. And I got a lot more of all these little motifs done. I kind of hopped around. I did some more gold, did some red, did some more gold over here, did some more red here. Added, yeah, just like little bits and bobs. Added some more green. Started more work on down in here. Just kind of wherever it took me. I looked it up in case in German, somebody asked me exactly what the name of this fabric was. So I looked it up, so I'm going to tell you too. It is a Zweigart Belfast linen in sparkle natural gold. And it's really great for this pattern. Really, really happy with it. Oh, that dark. These are my Christmas colors. Dark green, dark rich red, gold. This pattern, it was designed for me. It's just everything I love about Christmas. All right. Last project is my Monopoly board. Now, I only worked one day on this. And the idea was, it's fine. Because what I'm doing is really boring, but it needs to get done. I know I'll work one day and I'll work my second day at the cross stitch little gathering meetup that I was going to at the end of the month. So I just did a few more of the black lines on that day. That's my counting pin, so that's where the next line comes. I was like, that's fine. I'll do a second day and I'll get a whole bunch more lines done. I always have the best ideas. But then, by the day of the meetup, I was completely obsessed with another one of my projects. And so I brought that instead. And I will show it to you now. This is from Doreen Jones. And there it is. And she gives you the alphabet to make it completely customizable. So you can tell, oh, nose itch. So you can put your own name in there, all right? And it's also got a lot of fill-in that's really boring. So I brought that to the meetup again, and I will talk more about the meetup in a second. And I got quite a bit done, and I've been working on it a lot. Well, if I've been stitching on this since then. But I really haven't been doing a whole lot of stitching because I've been hanging out with my brother. More on that a little bit later too. So last time there was light green and dark green. And look, I ripped it all out. This beautiful tealish blue from DMC, and this turquoise is also a fancy floss hand dyed by Francisca Color Fever on Etsy. And it makes my heart sing. I worked quite, I did all these, a lot of the letters I did at the meetup, and I worked on the blue since then. And of course, yeah, I've gotten a lot done on here. This is looking really good. I just want it done, man. And it's my stitching. I can work on what I want when I want. I can change the rules because it's my hobby. It's for fun. There's no rules. I made the rules. I have no authority over myself. I wish I did. So, yeah. That's what I've been going with. I really, really like it. And, oh, that turquoise is just... And again, I'm doing, one leg all the way and then going back doing the next leg. And you still can see the variation in color. But I'm not wasting a bunch of yarn. Before I got sucked into that, I worked a whole bunch of days on my Lola Crow Haunted Library. These two projects, this Cross Stitch Stash by Doreen Jones and this Haunted Library, I have goals to have those completely finished by my next Flosstube, which it's already like mid-April, right? I'm going to film again at the end of April. So the only other thing I will work on is my Cherry Garden on the 25th. But everything else is getting set aside because I want to finish these two things. This is so close now to being done. I have the black outline stitching to do, and I have everywhere where the dark brown is. And that's it. What's funny is, though, as I'm working on this, there are a bunch of spots where I was convinced I had done all the stitching, or a bunch of colors where I was convinced I had used them everywhere in the pattern where they were and had put them away. And then, as I'm stitching, I'm like, ooh, missed a stitch there. Ooh, where's, like, right here. Where are all the spines of these books, the ends? I don't know. Didn't make them. Had to go back, dig out all the colors, and put them in there. And also, what's funny is I'm stitching this thing, right? And I'm looking at it. This is my oldest whip, people. My oldest whip. Do you know how many hours I've spent staring at this thing? Last week is when I go, oh my gosh, that's a hand coming out of the ground to get the book, and there's his other hand. It's not the design's fault. The design is perfect. It's that I think your brain, my brain at least, gets so caught up in dissecting the pattern, looking for this symbol here, that symbol there, that I don't see the picture as a whole. And when I stood, when I kind of laid it in my lap and just glanced at it, that's when it finally clicked in my brain. Oh my gosh, look at what she has designed. This adorable monster hand coming out from the depths of hell underneath the library to grab a book because apparently it's boring down there. Love it. I love this. And I want to get it finished because it deserves to be finished. Because this design, not my stitching, but this design is such an amazing piece of art. Hats off to the designer. It's just fantastic. All right. That is what I have worked on, which is quite a bit, right? Like, I don't need to feel bad that there's 4 projects I didn't touch. I touched a lot of stuff. I made a lot of progress. Good job, Amy. All right, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this meetup. It was so great. I was watching somebody else, an American Flosstuber, and she mentioned that they met up at an IKEA and stitched in the IKEA restaurant. And I just thought that was a brilliant idea. So we were kind of organizing a little meetup for whoever wanted to come to Zurich, right? Local stitchers. Not a giant retreat, just a little meetup. And we could have done it in right downtown Zurich, which has the advantage of it's right near the train station, main train station. You know, you land there, you can come from all over and easily find this place. But it was it's a cafe. Yes, we could have sat there. But it's kind of a touristy spot. It's lovely. I would love to go there still someday. You can reserve, if you have a big enough group, you can reserve a back room and they will not care. But we did not have enough people who were coming. And so we would have had to just sit at a regular table. And it still would have worked. But I was really glad when they all chose. I also then proposed meeting at the Zurich, the IKEA restaurant that is a little bit north of Zurich. And they all decided that that was fine. And Aria, who was coming from train, she had like a little extra tack on journey. She said getting there was a little bit difficult because one of the connections was not so great, but going back home was perfect for her. So she has no problem meeting up there again. And Francisca and Ina came, and they came by car, and it's great because it's easy to get to. It's right off the freeway, plenty of parking. Same thing for me because it was a little north of me. 2 other ladies were going to come at the last minute stuff. Life happens, right? Life happens, and so they couldn't make it. Hope they can come another time. But the 4 of us sat there and just had the most delightful time. They picked out a table right by big, beautiful windows, good overhead lighting, great light. The chairs were actually pretty comfortable. The table was plenty big that we could spread out. But there was enough area around us that nobody was like, why are you guys sitting there cross-stitching and taking up these valuable tables? Because the IKEA restaurant's huge. Even we were there in the middle of the lunch rush, and still it was completely fine. There was room for people to sit down. You go buy one time your drink, free refills. We're hungry for lunch. All right, let's go. Leave our stuff there. We went and got our lunch at the little, restaurant. Came and sat down, cleared the trays immediately, kept on stitching. If you are looking for a group of between 4 and 8 people, and you're not sure where to meet, if you have an IKEA anywhere near you, I highly recommend meeting up at the IKEA restaurant. Nobody said boo to us. None of the workers cared that we were there for 4.5 hours, 5 hours. Absolutely nobody cared. It's fantastic. Really great. The only issue, I'll have to tell you the story. The only issue was we fortunately were finished with our lunch because otherwise it would have ruined our lunch. But we're sitting there and this dad with his 2 little girls is like finding a spot at the table. He sat the older girl who's maybe 4, 5 maybe on her chair, and he's holding the other kid who's between 2 and 3. It's hard to say, right? Because some kids are giants, but they're like 1.5 years, and some are tiny, and they're 3. So I don't know, but between 2 and 3, holding her while the mom's off to get the food. And all of a sudden, the little girl rose up. And this dad freezes. Does he run to the bathroom? No. Does he do anything? No. He stands there while she continues to throw up again, and then again. And, that kind of stuff doesn't smell so great. It's not fun, which is why I was glad we were all done eating. But then the mom comes back with the food. Does he go off to tell a worker, hey, sorry, my kid threw up? Nope. Grabs some napkins that the mom has brought, put them on the top over the mess, and they calmly sat at the table and ate their lunch. Never informed a worker, never warned people, nothing. I was like, oh, that is not on. So I got up and I found a worker and was like, I'm really sorry. There's a little kid who just threw up in those tables back there. And she was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. She went and she's like, I can't do anything. That's the guy. She pointed out the guy. Tell him. I was like, okay, great. Because she was like working at the register, right? So I went over and told that guy, I was like, some kid threw up. He's like, oh my goodness, thank you so much for telling me. He grabs one of those, wet floor signs, warning, brings it over, and he's like, he looks at me and he looks at the table and he's like, is that them? Are they just sitting there? And I was like, yeah, that's them. They're just sitting there. He kind of rolls his eyes like, seriously, people? You couldn't just like say something? He sees the haphazard dropping of napkins the dad has done and kind of rolls his eyes again. And he handled it so well because you could tell he was ticked and disgusted and just done with people being idiots. But he did not confront them or yell at them, which I might have done had I been him. Instead, he just very loudly and obviously was like, sorry folks, there's a spill here, please watch out, puts the giant warning sign, let me put these carts around here to block this area off so nobody accidentally walks through it. Never looks at the people, but is loudly explaining to everybody else what is happening. And I was like, passive aggressive 100%, totally effective, and the guy cannot complain that the guy was rude to him because he never spoke to him at all. He just explained the situation very matter-of-factly and loudly to everybody else in the area. And then because, it's a biohazard, right? So he can't clean it up with the regular cleaning products, but he can at least block it off and prevent anybody else from walking through it. And then the real cleaning person came with all the special equipment and disinfected the whole area. And then they kind of waited. And as soon as that family left, because they sat there and calmly ate their food, like butter wouldn't melt in their mouth, never acknowledged the workers, never apologized to the workers, just ate their lunch. I was like, ooh, you got audacity, folks. Coming out your eyeballs. As soon as they finished and got up and nonchalantly walked away, they sprayed that table down with bleach and who knows what else, right? Fire hose to cleanse it and wiped it down, wiped all the chairs. Like, kudos to IKEA. Those workers were really well trained on how to deal with biohazards. They wiped everything down, cleaned it really, really well, and then other people could sit down there. So they handled it really well. But I was just like, how can you just sit there and act like your kid didn't just throw up everywhere in the middle of where people are eating in a restaurant? And look, I have 5 kids, okay? I am no stranger to a child is completely healthy and 1 minute and the next minute his insides are coming out, okay? I have lived it. I've been there, done that. But you know what I always did? Honey, go tell somebody. Oh my gosh, you guys, please, nobody come here. I'm so sorry. My kid just had an issue. So sorry. Please go around. We're already getting somebody. Like, I did not leave that. I didn't sit there and act like nothing had happened. I don't get how people can do that. Whoops. I knocked over my stand. Anyway, I don't believe how people can be fine living like that, like sleep at night, knowing they pulled that stunt. Whatever. But, yeah. So my plans are finish those 2 projects because I want them done, and they're so close, especially that haunted library. And then fully finish, I'm getting a stack, fully finish those. And so hopefully I will be back at the end of April to show you guys some fully finished objects. That'll be fun, huh? Yeah. Oh, my brother. My brother's been here. It's been fantastic. Do you guys have siblings who have completely different parents than you had? Because that's what's happening. He's 10 years younger than I am. We've been swapping stories. And he's been telling me stuff. And I've been like, oh yeah, they did this and this. And I'm like, are you serious? No. And then I told him something, and he just started busting it up, and he's like, yeah, you had completely different parents than I did, man. That's, I don't know what's going on. Totally different parents. And not like, and what's interesting is usually it's like the older kids have the worst parents, right? No. They got like more strict and more weird the older they got, apparently. Instead of like me, we're old. It's like, we're tired, man. Do whatever. As long as you're not committing felonies, whatever. But for my brother, Joe, they got so strict and just like micromanaging and everything. But at the same time, completely ignoring some of his needs. Anyway, it's just kind of funny. And not in like a malicious way, right? But just in a like, we're tired, we're done kind of way. Which is normal, but then also caring more about stuff that they didn't used to care about. It's been very entertaining. Love you, Mom and Dad. You guys are awesome. It was just funny to see how Joe has had completely different take on his childhood than I did. And also it's been fun. He's been telling me things. He's like, oh, remember we did this? Like something that I did with him specifically. And I'm like, we did that? He goes, yeah, you were the coolest big sister. And I'm like, I'm so glad you think so. I don't remember doing that with you. But I'm glad. If you remember it, it happened clearly. But I don't remember it. But I'm glad I did it. And I'm glad it was a core happy memory for you. So, good for me. But it's been really fun. It's the first time he's ever been to Switzerland. It's been lovely. But yeah, it is. There's been no stitching time because even at night, we stayed up one night till 1:30 in the morning just talking and chatting and love that kid. So yeah, it's been fun, but yeah, totally different childhoods. Anyway, okay, that's it for me until, in a couple of weeks, I'll be back. I really mean to only film once a month at the end of the month, but yeah, didn't happen this month. So see you again in a couple of weeks. Until then, take care. Happy stitching. Bye.